GT4 European Series supports Project Mine.
On the Dutch North Sea coast lies the famous seaside resort of Zandvoort. The beach, the sea and the boulevard are loved by tourists and day trippers alike. But not everyone is here for the salty air and the amazing views. Some are more interested in what's going on the other side of the sand dunes at the historic Zandvoort track. This is the heart of Dutch motorsport. Today it's proud to host round 2 of the GT4 European Series.
We will see the return of some familiar faces in the GT4 European Series. We will learn about the collaboration between GT4 and Project Mine, and 2 nail-biting races at the historic Zandvoort track.
Round 2 of the series marks the return of some familiar faces, starting with Nissan, bringing the 370Z driven by Frans Verschoor and Bernhard ten Brinker. The latter's a competent rally driver, but he's been away from racetracks so long that he's now regarded as an amateur racer. Frans Verschoor tells us how the partnership started.
I've got the opportunity from Nissan to drive here in the Masters. It's fantastic that I can drive, and yeah, I'm very happy to do the first laps today, and I hope there will be a fantastic race.
And you have a special teammate who we haven't seen here for a few years here on the circuit.
Yeah, last time he drove was 2005. He was a famous Dakar driver, and I'm happy he's back again, and I drove in the Megane Trophy 10 years ago with him. And yeah, he's very good and consistent. And when it's raining, he's very good, of course, because he's a rally driver. And he has he's learning fast, so I'm not worried that we get bad results.
Another familiar face of the Zandvoort track is that of Dutch veteran Cor Oyser. This weekend he's at the wheel of a Lotus Evora, a car that he knows really well. And he's sharing with Australia's Marcus Vivian, who makes his debut both here at Zandvoort and in the GT4 European Series.
To drive, it's beautiful. It reminds me of places like Alton Park and the Nürburgring. It's a sweet, flowing circuit. That said, there's no run-up here. It's like driving a street circuit. Any mistake, you go straight to the accident and straight to the body shop. So it's not one you want to make a mistake on, and it's one that pays committed drivers with big hairy balls.
We end the news with a change of car for one of our duos. Jörg Viebahn and Bertus Sanders won in their Ginetta in Misano in Italy the opening race weekend, but they have opted here for a 911. We caught up with Bertus to find what brought about the change.
At the beginning of the season we should drive with the Porsche, but the Porsche was not ready for the first race weekend in Italy. So there we drove in a Ginetta, and almost sure for the rest of the season we drove with the Porsche.
Is the Porsche as fast as the Ginetta, because you scored some great results in Misano?
I hope it is as fast as the Ginetta, but yeah, we will see in the qualification and in the race. I think it's a good car, but to do it better than a Ginetta, that's almost impossible, because we won the last race. And well, we hope we can drive to the podium, and we will see.
The famous Zandvoort circuit is 4,307 meters in length and has 11 corners. Let's explore the circuit with Aston Martin driver Daniel Roos.
So this is the Tarzanbocht. You brake basically where you see the white line up there, and you brake really hard, and you brake into the corner, into this, where you go really, you turn it like a V shape, and just to carry a lot of speed out to the corner. It's a fun corner to drive.
After Tarzan corner, the track moves along to Gala corner and Hugenholz, one of the 3 left-handers on the track. From there on, the circuit flows uphill towards Hunsrück and through Slotermaker to the famous Skyvlak, or is it infamous? A highlight of the circuit, according to Roos.
It's a really, really fast corner and demanding corner. You just have to have big balls to get through it. Coming up on 5th gear, it's a blind corner when you get in. I mean, you can't see anything when you're coming down from the Slotermaker corner. you can't see anything when you're coming down from there. So you really have to aim at the Marshall post, and then you end up around the curbs there, and then you have this just a tiny bit of straight here where you can settle the car for the really fast right-hander.
After Skyflak and Masters corner, the drivers head towards the sea. This part of the track was not included in the original layout and was added in the colossal renovation of the late 90s. The last left-hander of the track is included in the Hans Ernst S-bend. This part of the track is well suited for risky overtaking.
You come over that crest, and then after that there's a white line. I don't think you can see it, but it's basically where the quad is. So you brake there really hard, and you just cross this curb as much as you can until you get down to the hairpin, and using the curbs on there in the hairpin, and then it's just changing gear up.
At this point, the lap of the track is almost done, and there are just 2 corners left. One but last is Kumo, and from there the drivers take the quick Ari Lindeck corner and rejoin the old part of the track on the main straight, completing 1 lap of Zandvoort circuit.
What a beautiful day here at Zandvoort for the first of our 2 races this weekend. As the drivers sit on the grid, they got plenty to think about, planning their start, but also the finish. And there's a little wrinkle there. Here's series coordinator Max Brahms.
We drove together with the Italian G50 Cup in Misano. Now we have chosen for the BRCC. It's a Belgian touring car championship. We have GT3s over there, GT4s, and some cars which drive the same lap times. We made the decision to drive together with the BRCC, so we have full grids. At this moment the GT4 has 10 cars, 11 cars, and we hope at the end of the season we will get 16 to 20 cars. The BRCC is driving 90-minute races, we are driving 60-minute races. We have chosen to drive still 60 minutes, so we get a different finish flag. What happens is, when we get the finish flag, all the participants will drive 1 full lap. They head into the pit lane and they go to the Park Fermé.
Well, that's plenty to worry about in an hour's time. But first, for our pole sitter, Bernhard van Oranje, he has got to concentrate on getting the start correct. And with Ekris van Oranje in the second racing Team Holland BMW alongside him, they're going to have to shuffle themselves, if they can, first and second into the first corner. Right behind, though, Marcel Noren in the Camaro is undoubtedly going to try and slot himself down the inside into turn 1. Ready for the rolling start. BMW's on row 1, Camaro's on row 2, then the Nissan of Franz Verschoor and the Aston of Daniel Roos. Waiting for the lights to change, and away we go. Shocking start by Marcel Noren. He's lost 3 places already, 4 places as Grammatico goes by, following the Nissan past him. And there's the Viebahn Lotus as well. Bernhard and Ekris van Oranje first and second. Third is the Camaro of Luc Brahms with the orange stripe. Then in fourth, that's the silver Aston Martin of Erik Behrens. Battle for fifth between Grammatico and Verschoor on the outside. The BMW's trying to jump away, and Verschoor has gone through in the Nissan, and around the outside, that is Jörg Viebahn in the Porsche. He passes Andre Grammatico for 5th position, so he's made a great start. Grammatico drops down the order again after making a good getaway. He's under pressure now from Marcel Noren in the Camaro, but it is our race leader, Bernhard van Oranje, from Ekris van Oranje in second place. As the rest of them dice for positions. Well, there is Marcel Noren in the Camaro, right behind the white BMW of Andre Grammatico. Grammatico driving on his own through this race. And the Porsche looking feisty as well. That's Jörg Viebahn right up behind the silver Aston Martin. That's the Alfab car of Erik Behrens. He's got his nose on the inside, gets a good run through the final couple of corners. He could be in front before he gets to the straight, and he does. Well, what a great opening lap for the Porsche driver, up to 4th place already, as the BMW M3 V8's out front. Bernhard and Ekris van Oranje race away from their opposition. Now they've got a great opportunity to work together. They're in the same team, the same cars. They know and trust each other implicitly, of course. Whoa, Marcus Vivian, the Aussie, in trouble. Massive tank slapper in the black Lotus Evora. Well, let's take a look with Fabian Lauda. Lisette Brahms right in front. Marcus Vivian's car goes one way, then the other, and back again. And both Brahms and Lauda did well to avoid an impact there. That was a tough one to dodge. Oh, it's going from bad to worse. Marcus Vivian off in the gravel, and he is well buried there. So how did this happen? Oh, another massive tank slapper. And that's a horrible sound for a driver. Marcus's girlfriend there on the right-hand side looking a bit disappointed in the cap. That is team boss and co-driver Koreuser as he gets towed away. Down into Tarzan, our race leader on the right, Bernhard van Oranje, and look at the orange and white car. That's Jörg Viebahn, the second of the Porsches. Doors opened by the other car, and Viebahn nicks through. He's grabbed the lead, passing both BMW M3s. He is now the race leader. Perfect opportunity now for the Team Holland BMWs to head for the pit lane. Bernhard and Peter Christian van Oranje both come in to hand over to their co-drivers. Well, vital not to lose time in the pits, but they are timed pit stops. You have to spend a minimum time stationary.
The pit stop time allowed niet.
Duncan Heisman hasn't got a working stopwatch in the car. Luke Brahms furious with the mix-up with the team. In fact, the Aston Martin, Eric Behrens, and Heisman and Camaro are both handed a stop and go. They both had 2 short pit stops. So this battle was on track, in the pit lane, back out on track, and will go through the pit lane again as they both have a stop and go to serve. In comes the Camaro. Duncan Heisman will be absolutely furious. Duncan, do not get penalised for speeding in the pit lane now. Well, here is our lead battle, and as it was in the first part of the race, so it is in the closing stages. The BMWs versus the Porsche. Bertus Sanders all over Ricardo van der Ende, trying to find a way around the leader. And in the second car, Simon Knapp is just behind to capitalise on any mistake. Through some of the other cars on the track they go in the other championship. Still the Porsche looking for that tiny advantage. Van der Ende so experienced though. Surely he's not going to give this away. He might not give it, but it might get taken. Great run around the outside. Not quite enough to get it through the SS. Cuts back to the inside. Fantastic wheel-to-wheel action. Porsche versus BMW. Flat 6 versus V8. Front engine versus rear engine, and nothing at all between them. The balance of power is just superb between these different manufacturers, and great, clean, close driving. Look at that, 3 cars where there's only just room for 4. Oh, problems for Fabian Lauda going very slowly there. What's happened to him? Let's take a look. Yikes. To me, to you. Got it. No, haven't got it. Well, he loops around, no damage done. Amazingly for Zandvoort, he manages not to hit any barriers, keeps it on the grey stuff as others find their way round him. Fabian Lauda rejoins suitably chastened, but he's not the only one having problems. Tarzan, always a tricky area. Andre Grammatico beaching the BMW nearly. Finally manages to come back on. Ricardo van der Ende out of the Arie Luijendijk corner for the final time, and he won't see the checkered flag, but he will see the finish flag for the FIA GT4 European Series. So he wins the 3rd race, and just behind him the battle between Bertus Sanders and Simon Knapp ends up with the Porsche between the BMWs, the Camaros 4th and 5th, and the Roos and Behrens Aston also penalised in 6th position. And our top AMs, Ten Brinker and Verschoor, in the Nissan 370. What a great debut for the Porsche. Here's Jörg Viebahn.
We have some advantages in some of the corners. Yeah, we drive. I knew that I could do a different line and got better acceleration, and that was really important to do that right from the start, because we knew that the tires are going to wear out very quickly on the Porsche. And as we didn't have any qualification yesterday, I had the peak of the tires in the beginning, so that was the reason I could really catch up that quick.
Well, also, he won at Silverstone in the GT4 Porsche last year. Here's our AM winner, Frans Verschoor.
You see the car can do it, and maybe we get some extra sponsoring from Nissan outside, and then we can do other races in Belgium or whatever. It's a car that's very good on the long term, and in the rain it's fantastic, but with this kind of weather it's a little bit too much lack of power.
Join us after the break for an insight into Project Mine, supported by the GT4 European Series, and of course the highlights of the 2nd race here at Zandvoort.
GT4 European Series supports Project Mine.
Welcome back to the GT4 European Series. Race weekend number 2 comes to you from the historic circuit of Zandvoort on the Dutch North Sea coast. The GT4 European Series supports Project Mine. BMW driver Lisette Brahms is the driving force behind the partnership.
BMW driver Lisette Brahms is an ambassador for Project Mine, a global initiative to find the cause and cure for ALS disease by collecting and comparing DNA samples. As a result, the cars are fitted with big stickers.
3 years ago, I started to promote the disease and make sure that everyone at the circuit know what the disease means and what it is. And now we're 3 years later, and Bernhard just started Project Mine.
I started Project Mine because I'm an ALS patient. There's no known cure at the moment, but what we do know is that genetic factors play certainly a role, and this is exactly what Project Mine is intended to find out. We are going to mine 15,000 patient samples and 7,500 controls. Mine is for mining of data. Mining of data is well known in the IT sector. If you looked at one DNA profile, it has 300 gigabytes of data. You can imagine that with 22,500 samples, it's a huge pile of data to mine the cause of ALS. And it is the world's largest genetic study into the cause of ALS.
For Brahms, who's a well-known face at the racetracks, motorsport is a perfect platform to inform drivers and fans about ALS and Project Mine. She works tirelessly to expand the awareness about the fatal disease and its consequences.
When I started this project, no one knew about the disease ALS. And as now today, I think everyone here at the circuit at Zandvoort knows what ALS means and what it is. So I think it's a good platform, and also because a lot of cars got Project Mine on them, people can see what it is and can ask the drivers what does it mean.
We have a lot of support from racing teams, and we like to have the speed in the project, and speed is well known on the racing track, and the exposure on the racing circuits compared to the speed we want to take is very important to us, and also to engage a larger audience that maybe not know about the disease itself, so we're also trying to raise awareness about ALS M&D.
Cars heading out to the grid for race 2. Dry conditions, sunny but a little overcast. At least it's not raining. That's often a problem when you're so close to the ocean as we are here at Zandvoort. Well, pole for race 2, Ricardo van Ende in the BMW that won race 1. Duncan Huisman's Camaro starts alongside. Van Ende and Huisman, two of Netherlands' most experienced top-flight racers. They've got a real veteran behind them. Third place on the grid, Cor Oyser in the Lotus Evora. So that's a great starting position for him. He's got Erik Berends in the Aston Martin alongside. Well, again, starting right at the back will be Bertus in the Porsche. So here we go, ready for the start of race 2. Ricardo van Ende, the pole man, just beaten away from the lights. What was going on there? Duncan Huisman goes by, Daniel Roos goes by. On the right, on the inside, Cor Oyser's there. Around the outside of the Aston Martin, try and get second back. So Huisman leads from van Ende, Daniel Roos third. In the Aston, Jan Joris Verhoel squirms over the grass as he dives inside the Lotus Evora of Cor Oyser, holds it all together just, but that's a change for fifth. The action has started already, and as they get to the end of the first lap, here comes Ricardo van Ende. Duncan Huisman hard on the brakes into Tarzan. Around the outside goes to BMW. Does he hold it together? On board with Huisman. Van Ende's right there. They are racing down towards Gerlach. Sinuous track through the dunes. Huisman's still there. Van Ende can't quite turn in. Second to first as he gets down into the Hugenholz corner. Wow, great stuff, inch-perfect racing. Max Verstappen in the cap there, so the Grand Prix driver Jos Verstappen, of course. Now back to the action, this is for fourth place. BMW, Simon Knapp, and right behind him, Jan Joris Verhoel. Cor Oyser behind in the black Lotus Evora. And then the Porsche, Bertus Sanders in that Porsche, looking for a way to make up ground as well. Great racing from the pros, and in the AM class as well. Fabian Lauda goes by Andre Grammatico, both of them driving solo, of course, all the way through this 60-minute race. Peter Christian on the left, Bernhard van Oranje on the right-hand side, waiting for the pit stops to commence. It's going to get busy soon. On board with Bernhard ten Brinker. That's not good news from the Nissan. That tyre smoke or radiator burst, something has gone wrong. He is being dropped down the order. What a shame. Ten Brinker's out, for sure won't get a drive. Wonder what went wrong.
We had a very good start and we were very quick, but after I think a round of 11 or 12 I get a slow puncture and then I got a flat tire. I don't hit anybody or something else. Okay, it's strange, but okay, it's over now.
Well, that's motor racing, winning yesterday, retiring today. On board with Koroysa and Jan Joris Verhoel right into the sides of the BMW, and Oysa squeezes by both of them, picks up 2 spots. He's now up into 4th. Great opportunism by the veteran at the S's. Let's take a look from the outside. See the Camaro comes around the outside in the first element, clashes into Simon Knapp on the inside, and as they almost come to a halt, whoosh, through goes Oysa. Luckily, Knapp saw him coming, and the Porsche follows through as well. We didn't see that from the onboard. Race leaders on pit road, Ricardo van Ende hands the car over to Bernhard van Oranje, who of course started yesterday. And there the Porsche didn't quite get through it. Bertus Sanders all over the back of Simon Knapp's BMW. Throws it around the inside at Skyflak. That's a great pass. Bernhard van Oranje leaving the pit lane right in front of the Camaro of Luke Brahms. That might end up being our 1-2 once all the pit stops have been shuffled through. With the Aston Martin, Daniel Roos, Erik Berens sharing this car, and as they come to Skyflak, down the inside comes the Porsche. Jörg Viebahn taken over from Bertus Sanders, and he is absolutely flying in the 911. Viebahn really finding his feet now thoroughly in the Porsche. And as they come out of Hugenholtz, he is all over the back of Luke Brahms in the Camaro that was started by Duncan Heisman. So cresting the rise through the Hunsrück, dropping down, so many elevation changes here, through the Rob Slottermacher box, and then up to Skyflak. No chance to squeeze down the inside this time. He is piling on the pressure. Don't forget the Porsche's second in race 1. All Brahms is offline here, and that's an opportunity. And sure enough, Jörg Viebahn grabs it with both hands, up into 2nd place. Three-way battle for 3rd. Luke Brahms just in front of the silver Aston of Erik Berens. Behind Marcel Nooren, loops it around, just carried too much speed in there and tried to avoid the collision. But look, they're racing wheel to wheel. Berens looking to go around the outside there, and that continues. This time a mistake from Luke Brahms, and Erik Berens moves through into 3rd position. Great moves by the Aston Martin. A little bit less pressure for Lisette Brahms in the BMW. Rob Savers started the blue last Moras Racing Team M4. She stays in front. So BMW's leading both classes. Racing Team Holland pit wall, double thumbs up from Ricardo van der Ende, and rightly so, because Bernhard van Oranje is going to take the car to the flag as they take their 2nd win of the weekend here at Zandvoort. A double race winning weekend, the Porsche in 2nd again. Top 2 remain the same. The Ekris Motorsport team that run the 2 orange BMWs looking rightly delighted. And in 3rd place, Alfab Racing, Daniel Roos and Erik Berens claiming the final podium spot in the Aston Martin. Victory in the AM class goes to Rob Savers and Lisette Brahms as she brings the car across the line to claim the win. Confirmation of the results of round 4 of the championship. AM class victory going to Lisette Brahms and Rob Savers. 3rd for the Aston Martin, Daniel Roos and Erik Berens. 2nd again for the Porsche, Jörg Viebahn and Bertus Sanders. But victory goes for the 2nd time at Zandvoort to Bernhard van Oranje and a happy Ricardo van der Ende.
I love to race against Duncan because he's my old teammate. But first I had to recoup from my mistake with the start. I started from pole, turned into the first corner as 4th. So I took the long way around the outside back to 2nd again. And then up to Duncan towards the Camaro. I only had one chance. That was on the outside of the first corner as well. And overtook my old teammate outside. After that we had a great battle and brought it in P1. So very, very happy.
Here's how the championships look after the second of our 6 race weekends. In the AM category, a second win of the season for Rob Savers and Lisette Brahms puts them at the top of the pile. And in the Pro class now, with 3 wins from 4 starts, Ricardo van der Ende and Bernhard van Oranje, they are the men that everyone else is chasing. 2 visits to the top step of the podium here at home in Zandvoort. Great weekend for them.
That wraps up the second weekend of the GT4 European Series. The next stop will be at Spa-Francorchamps during the famous 24 hours of Spa. For more information, be sure to check out our website, gt4series.com. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Tot ziens.
GT4 European Series supports Project Mine.